It's Monday, and that means another episode of Get Boosted on Shot Callers Esports. Eric Kummel here with the one and only Matt Hempstead. I think the one and only. At least the only Matt Hempstead that I know.
There's definitely others.
Have you looked?
Yes.
Well, the only one that I know. The only Matt Hempstead that I know. All-Star rosters have been announced across the LoL esports scene. And before we dive in and look at some of these rosters, I want to know what you think of the whole voting scheme that they added in this year. You only get one vote, can't vote for other regions, and really that just puts even more pressure on that one vote. If you screw it up, you're done. There's no going back.
I screwed it up.
You screwed it up.
I screwed up my vote, so I was pretty upset with myself because I was like, you know, it was when I first saw it. You stumble in there being like, time to vote, guys. Let's go see who's on the ballot. Let's just do my throwaway votes because I'm going to be able to spam it as much as I want. You can't do that anymore. It's the one vote. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to go vote for EU. Oh, I can't vote for EU. So I'm done and I screwed it up. So that feels bad. But I mean, overall, I like the thing where only two people from one team can go. So that definitely helps add some diversity. So it's not just, oh, look, everyone on TSM is going to All-Stars. That's pretty fun. So overall changes are good. I'm just sad because I screwed up my ballot.
Yeah, unfortunately, Matt and I both made an error and did not vote for Mike Young. And for that, we must apologize.
I'm deeply upset with myself.
I'm upset with you too. Less myself. I have more slack for myself.
I got you.
I make a lot of mistakes. But we will be getting your questions later on in the show. But we're going to go down at least the NA, EU, and LCK rosters. We're going to take a look at those. Not too many surprises. A couple that you could maybe argue maybe someone else should be in there instead. And we've also got some other unique all-star teams that we've made ourselves that follow certain themes and are a little unorthodox as opposed to what you'd usually expect from an all-star squad. But trust me, they're very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, we had a good time coming up with these teams, and I'd love to see some of them at All-Stars.
Spoilers, some of them I imagine would do horribly.
Yeah.
Not well at all. They'd probably get destroyed by everyone.
Especially. Never mind.
No spoilers. No spoilers. But we will be getting to those in a bit. But first, let's start with the boys from NA, the NA All-Star roster. Got some guys that we're accustomed to seeing at these kind of events. You got Haunter in the top lane. Our boy, Mike Young, even though Matt and I screwed up the votes. He's there in the jungle. Bjergsen in the mid lane. A lot of people expected. Sneaky beating out Doublelift for the 80 carry spot. And the other part of the rush hour bot lane, Afromo in there. That's kind of the one that stands out to me in this list.
I mean, yeah, you've grown accustomed to seeing Rush Hour as a whole at All-Stars, no matter how well they perform. And this time, Doublelift not going, Sneaky is in. Even if Doublelift did get the vote, something would have to give because of the whole two-person per team rule.
Yeah.
There was already Bjergsen and Haunter, and those guys probably deserve it more than Doublelift does. So they're sneaky. But yeah, Afromo's the one guy who kind of stands out here. Mike Young obviously is a different breed of discussion.
He stands out in the right way.
Right, but for Afromo, there's guys who definitely perform better than he did. I'd put Smoothie over him. I'd put Ole over him. I'd even probably put Balfrost above Afromo's performance. This is kind of the, hey, look, everyone likes me. I have a nice stream. I'm famous for being a good player, so I get a lot of votes.
Very likable guy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the main reason he got in. I don't have a huge problem with that because even though there is the competitiveness more so than other All-Star events at this one, I mean, you want to see the players that you like. And I think, yeah, Afro probably still has the biggest fan base out of those support guys. He probably was the fourth best support this split if you're looking at just his gameplay. Definitely a step down from what we're accustomed to seeing with Afro. But, I mean, I got no problem seeing him out there. Him and Sneaky, that's a fun lane. It's a fun lane to see go in there. And across the board, it's actually NA guys, except for Bjergsen. But again,
he is NA, Eric.
He just counts as NA now. So that was very nice to see that it's actually NA talent heading to this. For the most part. At least 4 out of 5 you can officially say are NA players.
Bjergsen's an NA resident.
Yeah.
And that's true. That he is. He's not considered an import, therefore he's North American. He never came from Europe at all. But Mike Young-wise, let's discuss Mike Young for a second because I'm not sure he's not the best jungler this split. He's not. Okay?
Nope.
He's not. But I voted for Contracts, which is probably the guy who deserves to go in terms of performance. You could maybe argue like Smithy in there as well. Both those guys, probably they finished second and third. Smithy second, Contracts third. But Mike Young, when he burst onto the scene, immediately drew a huge fan base because he turned Phoenix 1 from this team that did nothing, this thing that everyone wanted to watch. And then Rift Rivals happened, and he continued to perform there. Sure, it all went to hell afterwards. But still, Mike Young got this huge following. He's a super polite kid who his interviews were interesting, kind of bland, and he just gave the polite answer.
So were they interesting or bland?
They're the same thing.
They were so bland, they were interesting. Wow.
Right, but it's just, he's so intriguing to the league audience that fans love him, and now they want to see him on All-Stars, and he's going to be on an LCS roster next year. Which team, we don't know, but I'm glad he's going. It makes me even more intrigued to watch All-Stars.
Yeah, I think, Contracts and Smithy for sure. Maybe you could make some case for some other guys outperformed him in the regular season and playoffs because Mike Young wasn't in the playoffs, so playing a game would outperform him there. But it is more exciting. And All-Star, these type of events are all about excitement and drawing in fans and just giving you something that you're interested in seeing. And seeing him play against some of these international junglers across the world, that's interesting. I want to see him go up against someone like MLXG, who's going in the LPL, or Ambition in the LCK. Spoiler, just spoiled the jungler for the LCK All-Star.
God damn it.
But, what are you going to do? I want to see Mike Young against those guys. So very interested to see that. And I don't really have any big issues with that NALCS roster. Again, don't take these too seriously. It's an All-Star event. It's supposed to be fun.
I mean, any All-Star event, you're going to see who the fans want. Not necessarily who the best is, who deserves to go the most. It's fan favorites, basically. And that's, when you look at it, it makes sense. Everyone loves Sneaky, everyone loves Aframu, Hanser, Mike Young, Bjergsen. We love them. They're all great. Great guys.
Yeah, so all in all, it's okay. We'll see how this squad does, but it looks pretty good. I like it on paper. Let's go on to the EU LCS, which again has some guys you would expect to see there, and a couple spots that maybe raise a couple question marks. So as in the top lane, that's fine. Jankos in the jungle. Maybe you put Maxlore instead there. Power of Evil in the mid lane, which is a little surprising. We'll get back to that. Reckless as AD. Don't think you could see a world where it wasn't him going down there. And Ignar, based purely off his performance against SKT, is going as a support. Ignar and Power of Evil both are pretty much just because they took SKT to Game 5, right?
This one's weird to me because I understand why Ignar and PoE are there. And there's a lot of recency bias, obviously. But then you look at that and it's like, well, why did Maxlore not finish above Jankos? Because I thought that Maxlore would definitely go above Jankos in this spot. And I'm like, where are the G2 guys? They finished 3-3 at Worlds, but that group was insanely difficult. And I still think they're probably the top team in Europe. I know Misfits had a crazy performance, but Perks should be in there above Power of Evil. Mithy, Ignar, that one's okay going either way for me, but I definitely think Perks over PoE.
It is pretty crazy that G2, the dominant EU team for the last 2 years, 4 splits, doesn't have one representative at All-Stars.
No.
I agree. I would definitely be putting Perks over PoE. He's also just more interesting. No offense, PoE. I think having Perks in there to talk smack about some of these other guys, whether he's trolling or not with some of the comments he'd make. He's an interesting character. He's a great guy, a great ambassador for the EU LCS. I think that's a guy you gotta send to All-Stars. You gotta send him.
And I also want to see if his Rise is bad and if his Azir is worse. Bring that stuff out on All-Stars, man.
Yeah, he's gotta make a new meme with some new champions. You know, people have tried out a couple different ones with whatever's meta, but so far nothing's topped the Azir and Rise one because that is prime stuff.
It's a great meme. It's an excellent meme. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to see Max Lauren over Jankos. Jankos still gets a lot of support, even though H2K chokes all the time. And he's part of the reason. But I'd like to see Perks over PoE and then Maxlore over Jankos. The rest, it makes sense. Reckless, obviously, huge fan base. And so has stepped up in the second week of Worlds into playoffs.
Yeah, and Sven of G2 also finished 3rd in voting behind Hans Sama. Again, Hans Sama had some great performances at Worlds, but I mean, if you're looking at the whole scope of a year or even a half split, it's an up-in-the-air criteria, but Sven is guy I'd put ahead of them. But that doesn't matter because none of them were getting in over Reckless. So 2nd and 3rd is basically irrelevant there. Reckless absolutely deserves to go there. And then, yeah, I might put Mithy over Ignar. I probably would, but I'm not too upset about Ignar going in there. He played super well for the last Well, Worlds lasted like a month. So 2 months, I'll say, for Ignar.
Yeah, Mithy had a nice tweet too saying, "Don't get blinded by the fervor Leona. Vote for me." It didn't work.
They got blinded by the sun and the light. She's a sun, right?
Yeah, go watch the Alistar zoning play again and tell me why Mithy doesn't deserve to be at All-Stars.
There's a couple of those plays.
I know.
Where he does that. But it's okay because Mithy and Sven will be heading to TSM soon.
They'll be in NA All-Stars.
They'll be on the NA All-Stars with Bjergsen and the likes of maybe someday, other nice NA residents.
Of course.
Yeah. Let's get to the LCK, which was probably the least surprising of them all. I'm saying that because, I'll be honest, a couple of the other regions, I didn't know a lot of the players. I won't be shy in saying that. But the LCK, I mean, you could pretty much predict this before even seeing a lot of the votes that you'd coming in. There's a couple of world champions, former and current, Cuvée and Ambition, top lane and jungle. I mean, maybe you put guys like Score or something over Ambition in that jungle, but I mean, come on, the guy just put up a great performance and 3-0'd SKT, so I got no issues with that. Faker, it'd be absolutely absurd if someone else wasn't in the mid lane. And Prey and Gorilla, sure, they had their Worlds run a bit short, but they're still the best bot lane in the world.
Yeah, this one's a little tough. I mean, sure, you could put a guy like Ruler in there over Prey, but again, that'd be pretty much saying exactly what we just said, where the recency bias just creeps in and everyone's like, wow.
Already got 2 Samsung boys.
Yeah, and the whole roster should just be Samsung based on, oh, they won Worlds in a convincing fashion, so, they should be All-Stars. But yeah, I mean, Cuvée, the only person you could kind of stick up there too is Khan, because he was dominant the entire way. Smeb, yeah, I know, but KT just gets such a negative rep too because they missed out on Worlds, which is somewhat fair to say. And of course, I mean, it's as we expected going into this, right? It's so many guys who are at Worlds, and now everyone's like, oh yeah, they were pretty good. But people like, someday with Dignitas, everyone forgets how good he was because we haven't seen him in months now. So it's kind of the same thing with KT Rolster. Score, forgot about him because Ambition had this great Worlds run. It's just that kind of thing. And obviously, no one's going to get put above Faker, even though BDD had a great split with himself. That KDA was absurd. And yet, Prey and Gorilla in the bot lane. Who else is it going to be?
That team is terrifying.
That's a good team.
For anyone else going against them.
It kind of looks like the KT Roaster Super team, but that didn't do it.
That didn't do so well. But anytime, I wonder how quickly Faker's vengeance run will begin. If he'll immediately go into this All-Stars and just absolutely start clobbering people. Or maybe he takes a week or two or a month or two to, kind of readjust, slowly work himself in. But I feel like a guy like him is just going right back into it, and he's going to be murdering people. I'd be terrified.
Will he talk to Ambition and Cuvée? Or will he, spike their drinks?
Oh, he might do that. He might speak to them while they're drinking it and say, enjoy your poison. And then they're dead.
I'd be a little upset. I mean, you just lost to this guy you're jungling with. It's like, oh, you beat me 3-0, and I was sad after.
You think he's going to do the old, all right, come in to gank. Okay, I'm coming. Nope. Then just back away, watch Ambition die.
Yeah, the classic tower dive, but you never follow up. It's a good move.
Jungler feeding LoL.
Yeah, that's a classic.
I might consider that if I was Faker.
Well,
but he's a better man than I, so he probably won't.
Probably not.
But, heading into All-Stars, which, by the way, December 7th to December 10th. So be ready for those. They're coming pretty quickly. Already less than a month. We already got major tournaments coming up. But I think LCK probably slightly heavy favorites in that.
Yeah.
They look pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, LPL's got some decent stuff too with Uzi and Mako in the bot lane.
Yeah.
But no one's going to... I mean, look at that LCK lineup. That's insane.
Yeah. Good luck. But I'm just happy that it's back to the format where you have actual matches that they may not actually mean anything, but at least it's back like Season 3 where you actually have some of the best from each region. Even though some of the votes... yeah, you can maybe go the other way. But it's still, you get your pride from whatever region you support to go against others. So that's exciting. I like that.
It's nice. And we get to see Turkey and CB LoL, everyone's favorite regions.
CB LoL.
Yeah. Fenerbahce is, I can honestly say that was the only Turkish team I knew going into this tournament. And then I saw the All-Star voting, I'm like, I know what's happening.
Wow, there was a lot of Fenerbahce guys getting voted. Or near the
only
top
2.
Votes. Yeah, but they were top 2 in pretty much most categories.
Not surprisingly.
And I did not know a lot of the other players. I'm sorry. I didn't know a lot of the others.
I don't watch. I don't sit up and watch the Turkish league, guys.
Well, you should check it out.
And
I've heard it's great. Those are the main rosters we're going to go through. And again, we'll be getting your questions later. So be sending those in. We're live on Twitter today.
Oh.
Twitter today. I love Twitter.
Tweet.
That's not how Twitter works. Twitter never does that. But we got some interesting rosters for you. Matt and I constructed some different rosters based on with the All-Star people that you could vote for. We made our own rosters that follow some different themes.
Oh,
we got 4 of them we're going to go through. And the first one it's a great team name. A great team name. We have got the non-NA LCS All-Stars. So what that means is you've got guys who were eligible to be voted in to the NA All-Stars, and they're not really NA residents, but they play in NA, and therefore they're NA. It's very confusing, but basically none of these guys are actually NA residents, and you can actually make a pretty solid team.
Now, when you say not really NA residents,
They live
in North America, but they have no birth certificate saying I was born here.
No.
They were born somewhere else.
They were not. That's why they don't have those birth certificates,
That's
because they
right.
weren't born in NA. But let's take a look at this at this roster we've set up. You got Someday in the top lane, Lyra in the jungle, our boy Jensen in the mid lane, Arrow at AD, and Ole at support. All these guys take up an import slot in the NALCS. And captain of this team is, of course, going to be Jensen, because I think he speaks the best English out of them all. And since the All-Star event is going to be in LA, Riot probably forces them to speak English.
Yeah, and I mean, this could also be a sweet band name. Jensen and the 4 Koreans. Boy, is that a catchy name.
That's pretty catchy. I would check out a debut single or album from them.
100%. But this team rivals the one that's actually going to All-Stars.
Yeah.
This team is stacked. I mean, the one weakness you can say is at ADC with Arrow, because he had 1 down split with Phoenix 1.
Yeah.
But the split before, he was popping off and looking really solid. But across the board, I mean, Jensen could have been going for NA. Ole could be going for NA in their actual roster. Same with Someday. And Lyra was a top-performing jungler not so long ago. First team in spring. So, I mean, that's a good team, man.
I mean, 3 out of those positions are probably top 2 in the NALCS.
Yeah, I mean, of course it's good. They're imports.
Yeah, I mean, that's why they're so highly coveted heading into the new franchising year. So that team, I'd like to see them go. They do pretty well.
Yeah, we'll send them to.
And the LoL NA memes would be great because, of course, none of them are really from NA. This next roster is something else.
We were looking so hard for some of these themes, Eric, but this one kind of came to us somewhat quickly.
It really just popped off the page. Of course, we are talking about the 5-course team. Let's check out the roster for these guys. Now, the theme here is going to be, it's a 5-course meal that you're going through. So in the top lane, you've got Brandini, which is obviously you're going to start with a little sip of brandy before you go in for the meal. And then the jungler and captain of the team is shrimp. Now, obviously, this is the first food you're eating in the course, so that's very important. And shrimp, if you have bad shrimp, it's trouble. So there's a lot of pressure on shrimp here to make sure that he's providing for his team. In the mid lane, we've got Froggen, frog legs.
I think they got it, yeah.
Good entree, good main course there.
Delicious.
And
not too filling.
Not too filling, because you got to save room for the AD carry. That's going to be bangers and mash, aka formerly don't mash me.
Right, just the mash here though.
Just the mash, no bangers,
no
just
bangers.
mash.
Only mash.
And then for dessert, you got a smoothie.
Nice.
It's actually a pretty healthy meal overall. I mean, a smoothie could be anything from like a chocolate, peanut butter, ice cream smoothie to, strawberry banana.
Wow.
Kale smoothie.
Someone call up Echo Fox and get this team to be a thing, because that is fantastic.
Now, the thing is, technically, Riot would probably not let that team go through because you got 3 Echo Fox members, Brandini, Froggen, and Mash. Luckily, if Riot does really enforce the rules, we do have a sub that we can put in that mid lane for Froggen. Matt, go ahead. Tell them who our sub is.
I mean, there's not too many food-named guys playing mid lane in the NALCS, so we almost put this guy ahead of Froggen, but, I mean, you can't, it's not super edible, but I know every kid at one point was like, I'm going to have a taste of some golden glue.
Some golden glue.
Gonna give me some glue. So, I mean,
he doesn't need to be golden.
No, but that's his name. His name's Golden Glue.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not as good as Frog Legs,
No.
I mean, if my
A
third
lot
course
less protein.
was glue, I'd be a little more upset, but...
I mean, to be fair, if I got a 5-course meal and my first course was some brandy, I'd probably be upset about that as well.
It's expensive brandy.
Okay. Maybe I wouldn't be that upset then.
Yeah. That's a fancy meal.
That is a fancy meal. That team, by the way, would get destroyed at All-Stars. Destroyed. You got Brandini, Mash, Shrimp.
Well, nothing wrong with Shrimp. Shrimp's a fine jungler.
Fine is right.
Okay.
Feel bad for Froggen and Smoothie on that team.
Yeah.
Specifically Smoothie. From quarterfinals at Worlds to that team at All-Stars.
That's a big downgrade.
That's a big slide. We got 2 more guys, 2 more squads here. This is a very interesting one. We're calling this one the shortest name possible. Shortest names possible, or S.N.P. for short, as we like to call them. These are the guys coming out of the LPL. Let's take a look at this roster. They are exactly as the name says, the shortest names possible. You've got V in the top lane. Doesn't get much shorter than that.
That's pretty short.
In the jungle, SKS, the longest name on the team. Obviously, V, captain of this team.
That means he's the best. SKS means he's
Or is
the best.
V the best? He's the captain.
I don't know.
In the mid lane, you got Ki. That's QI. And AD carry, Y4, and of course, support, you got Mo. That's 10 letters, man.
I'm just saying, if you had to pay per letter, this team would be super cheap.
Yeah.
And you'd be ahead of the curve.
That's not a bad idea if they're...
I mean, Riot should look
salary
into
caps.
this. Yeah. You have to pay per letter of the guy's name, not talent-based.
How much is a letter
character-based.
worth?
At least $10,000.
Wow.
That's
Well,
expensive.
if you're paying $10,000 per letter, then this next team, Riot would be going bankrupt pretty quickly, because the next team is the character limit exceeded roster. You know, when you're filling something out and they only give you 50 characters, you type a whole paragraph, and then who knows how long ago you exceeded the characters.
Devastating.
But this squad coming from the EU LCS.
Of course.
Of course, you got Vizichachi in the top lane. 10 letters there. Pride Stalker, MVP, and captain of this team. That's 12
Of course
letters.
he's captain, yeah.
Look at that face, man. I'm terrified.
He can be captain if he wants to.
He can,
I'm not going to argue with that.
can do
Jesus.
whatever he wants. In the mid lane, you got Power of Evil, AD carry Steelback. Really got to throw in the extra E's. Shoutouts to Steelback. He put that E in just to make this squad.
Yeah, just to qualify.
Only 2 E's? I'm not sure he gets in.
We gave him a call before this saying, you're not making it. Then he's like, I'm E!
Threw in another E. All right, you made the cut. And then Hillisang in the bottom
Kind of
lane.
disappointing, only 9 letters.
Yeah, that,
Scrub.
you know, he really let the team down on this one. That's 52 letters combined, as opposed to 10 on S.N.P. Just the insane parity in competitive League of Legends.
So which team's better? Obviously S.N.P.
S.N.P. is obviously better because they're much more recognizable and easier for announcers to say, for shoutcasters to call
It's
out.
efficient.
Yeah. V. What a play by V.
Or Vizichachi.
Oh,
God.
too many syllables. Way too many
Don't
syllables.
get paid enough for that.
Now, I will say the S.N.P. team, not sure how well they would do at the All-Star team. Not super familiar with a lot of the players on that squad.
Yeah.
I do remember EDG U used to be a mid laner, so we could have had a V and a U. So that'd be interesting. Matt and I were trying to come up with some other rosters. We were really looking forward to filling out a roster of animals, full animal names on a team. Got very close on the LCK with, we had Mighty Bear in the jungle, Mickey in the mid lane.
Yeah. Teddy at 80K.
Teddy at AD, and you got Wolf or Gorilla at support, but there was no top lane.
No. That
No
was
top
disappointing.
laner.
We got close with food too.
Yeah.
In
LPL?
in the LPL, yeah. There
You
was
got-
banana. There was banana fish. So many great names.
Those are 2 different players on 2 different teams. Banana and Banana Fish.
It's crazy.
Outrageous. You had Corn in the mid lane.
Yeah. Ning was our jungler because that translates to. We did full translations
Yeah,
of
Ning
these Chinese.
does translate to lemon in English,
There it is.
but couldn't find a jungler.
No.
MLXG, not really food.
There's another good one too. I think in the LMS there's a guy named Breeze and there's a guy named Wind. They just love when the air flows through there.
I would be mad if I was one of them. If I named my
You
guy
took
Wind
my
and I'm
name.
like, well, I'm Breeze. Oh, come on, man. Come on. You just took my name.
That's all okay.
All-Stars should be fun.
Should be fun.
The
Would have been funner with some of these
It
teams.
would have been a lot funner if Banana Fish was going at the
With
All-Stars.
banana.
And Dumbledore should be an all Harry Potter team.
I think that's
there's
it.
only Dumbledore. Albus?
Yeah.
Isn't that Albus? Isn't that someone
That's his
from Harry
name,
Potter? Albus Dumbledore?
Yeah, you're the Harry Potter guy. I don't know.
I think it's Albus. Pretty sure it is.
Sure.
But yeah, All-Star should be fun. You got the 1v1 tournament as well and the actual team stuff. Going on December 7th to December 10th. But more seriously, we do have a more imminent, competitive, exciting tournament that's coming up. And that is the Tyler 1 Championship Series, Matt.
It's very competitive.
Oh
wow.
my gosh.
The rosters were handed out, and there's some interesting ones.
Oh, there's some very interesting ones.
Of course, it's headlined by none other than the Stream Dream Meme team making a reappearance. They're back. Delta Fox, minus the Delta Fox banner.
Yeah, they're under what I gotta get the order. Stream Dream Team.
Stream
They
Dream
should
Meme
throw a
team.
meme in there.
There is a meme in there. I don't think it's just a Stream Dream team.
I think it's Stream Dream Team. There should be a meme.
They cut the meme?
I don't know. There should be a meme because they are a meme.
Yes.
But I mean, honestly, that team should win.
Yeah, I mean, they should win. They're practiced together. They've been performing in the challenge.
Was it practicing?
Okay, well,
they
it
play
didn't
one
always.
day a game.
Yeah,
One
you're
game
right.
a day.
Practice together.
Practice together. Yeah.
But I mean, they're talented. They got Cutie Pie, who's got 4 challenger accounts.
#1
Shifter,
challenger player.
probably the top mid laner available. It's a good looking thing. And today I learned that there's no PNG image of Cutie Pie because he's just so mysterious. And I guess he never lets people take.
Yeah, no one knows what he
Photos
looks
of
like.
Yeah,
No one knows what he looks like.
I've never seen him.
No, he makes sure all PNGs are away off the internet. Shifter should be in the mid lane.
Yes.
I don't know why they stick him on support. He's the best or second best player on that team.
I would agree.
Shifter mid, Boy top, Dyrus jungle.
Just put Warboy in wherever.
Sub.
He's worse than that team.
Sub.
Yeah.
Bring in the guy Cutie Pie always duos with. What's his name? V Nasty.
Anybot?
No, not Jared.
Not Jared.
Yeah, so that's probably the favorite in that one. But I got to give some honorable shout-outs to some great names. You've got Beans for Dinner. That's a pretty great team name. Good Luck at McDonald's. Which
I'm not sure what the good luck's
I feel
about.
like that's like they're saying if we don't win this tournament, we're going to work at McDonald's. Or maybe they're saying whoever we beat is going to work at McDonald's.
After our failed esports careers, we're off to McDonald's.
Yeah. And then, of course, you've got the Renegades.
They're back.
The Renegades are back. That is obviously formerly the Renegades. And the best part is you've actually got 3 of the 5 founding members of the Renegades. Alex Itch is in there. Maria's coming in for that. And RF Legendary, fresh off a name change. I actually don't know when he changed his name. It could have been 2 years ago. I don't remember.
But no dumbs. No crumbs.
No Prophet Dumbs. Prophet Dumbs.
He will
not
be missed.
Playing. Freeze, believe it or not, did not come back to NA for this. Can
That's
you believe
weird.
that?
That's bizarre.
I'm surprised he didn't come back because this tournament actually has a $10,000 prize pool.
That's honestly absurd. Tyler One putting up
His
10
YouTube,
Gs.
his YouTube channel's doing pretty well, I guess.
He's doing pretty well. Yeah.
He's doing pretty well.
For a homunculus,
That's
as
right.
stated by Riot Games.
Yeah, you know that's formerly, an employee formerly.
Yeah, sorry, not all of Riot. One former employee
Former.
who I'm sure opinions not shared by the company, blah, blah, blah.
So this tournament gets underway November 18th, or the pools, or group stage, I guess. I'm not exactly sure what the format is. And then on the 24th, you got the finals. It's pretty interesting. You know, this is a perfect time. There's a little bit of lull of competitive stuff going on. It's the preseason. People have no idea how the game works. Everyone's just getting the klepto stuff on every champion possible. So maybe that's what the meta is. It's not even going to be a meta. This is straight up just a solo queue tournament, and I'm all in.
I'm into it.
Give me it.
Nintendude X is there.
Nintendo X.
Nintendude, he's back from the coast days. Dubbed one of the worst junglers. Poor guy. He's been through a rough time. So he's been saying, I'm back. I'm ready to go. Let's see it. Let's see it at the Tyler 1 Championship Series.
Yeah, and you've also got there's Tarzan is going to be in there
Oh, there's some interesting folks.
on the team behavior check.
Makes sense.
They just got all the toxic guys on one squad. But yeah, there'll be some high ELO guys that I'm sure people will recognize their names from seeing on streams all the time and usually in the challenger bracket. So it's above and beyond Tyler 1's usual whatever plat tournament or anything. There's some pretty big names there that he's got going for this, and it's going to be very exciting.
I'm ready. Let's go.
We should have entered.
I mean, we could have.
10 grand.
I know.
I would cheese some Timo through for that
Okay. All right, well, next year.
next year. Tyler, by the way, it's called the TCS. It should be called the T1CS. T1CS sounds way better than TCS.
Hire this man.
Tyler 1 Championship series. Come on, Tyler. Come on. I'll work for you, actually.
That could be interesting.
It would be very interesting.
All right.
That's going on. And then we got All-Stars. And then, there's also some NALCS franchising going around. Rumors have died down a little bit.
Well, you can start signing players a week today. So it should be pretty spicy next Monday, hopefully.
Otherwise, we're going to come up with more All-Star rosters.
Yeah.
And
they'll make a lot less sense.
They'll make a lot less sense. And we'll just force through these animal ones, even if they don't work.
That's right, even though we already gave them away.
That's right. We'll be getting to some questions in just a moment. Matt, before we get to those questions, I got to ask you, who's winning All-Stars?
Should I be legit, or should I say something stupid?
No. Say what's right in your heart. What feels right in your heart?
LCK is going to win?
Wow. Your heart is cold and dark.
It's my heart is accurate.
What's your brain?
I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, who cares who wins? Let's be honest. It's not about winning. It's about not making money because the prize is nothing at all.
Here's the thing. If the LCK wins, then who cares? It doesn't matter. If a Western team wins...
That's true.
Whoa!
Best
Gap's
team in the
closing.
world.
Gap's closing. SKT and Samsung. Ooh, overrated? I'm not so sure. Maybe Bjergsen's the best. So, it's going to be interesting. But not super interesting because there's nothing on the line for this. Kind of like Rift Rivals, but Rift Rivals was surprisingly hype for having no stakes involved at all. And remember, LCK lost at Rift Rivals. LPL took them down. So
could happen again.
Could happen again, no doubt. It's a pretty quick turnaround, and I'm sure some guys probably haven't even been playing much heading into All-Stars, especially the guys who had deep World runs. Like, that's not even barely a full month after Worlds ends. These guys want a vacation. They've been playing League for like 10 months straight. I wouldn't touch that game if I was some of these guys for at least a month.
Yeah, if I was Faker, Ambition/QV, get me out of here. I don't want to go. I've been playing this game forever. We just won Worlds. I'm going to go to All-Stars and play with these plebs? No, I'm good.
I mean, QV said the first thing when they won, he said, so how much money did I just make?
Yeah, well, when you win All-Stars, you know how much money you win? That's not very much.
You don't make any. You don't make any. Pride, though.
Korean pride, even though you already won Worlds. What more do you need?
Yeah, that's probably enough pride for the year.
What good is pride, really?
Yeah, no one likes pride.
No.
Let's get some questions.
Yeah,
Neither of us have any pride.
No.
Maybe you guys do.
Maybe the chat has pride.
They probably do. Hard to have less.
Yeah. Mav, smart to point out here that Piglet should be included in your 5-course meal lineup. And he's not wrong. We had this discussion.
We did have him as a sub as well. He could also sub in for Mash Me. You could have, the opportunities with Piglet are endless. Yeah. It's just a little graphic because it's a baby pig. You feel extra bad.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Well, see, for me, if it was Piglet, I'm picturing the Winnie of the Pooh character, and I'm not about that life. I don't want to eat that.
I don't know how you would. It's a cartoon, man.
It's a book.
You eat a book?
It's Piglet.
I'm sure a pig, however you do it up, would probably be tastier than bangers and mash. I'm not even really sure what bangers and mash are. Is that sausage and mashed potatoes?
Yeah, it's delicious.
Why is it called bangers and mash? What is so banging about
the
these
English do some weird
sausages?
things, all right? I don't know.
It's not even, so it's just mashed potatoes. How terrible is your second to last course that all you get is mashed potatoes? What do I get last?
Mash.
A smoothie. Oh, wow.
It's a very not solid meal.
Yeah. But basically, Piglet is in as a sub if we have to sub out one of our Echo Fox guys. We got Piglet and Golden Glue.
Piglet can play mid.
They're ready.
Right?
I think I'd rather just put him in over Mash. But, we do have 2 subs, and oddly enough, both from Team Liquid. So this whole Team Liquid and Echo Fox, a lot of food-based names on those rosters. That's what we learned today. That's what we learned.
100%. 100%. At Bomber U Man wants to know what elo are you guys. Everyone wants to know how good we are at League of Legends. The answer is we're both terrible. Well, we're all right.
Yeah, terrible's more accurate.
I don't play that often anymore, I'll be
honest. Here's the thing. You got to play one champion to really climb if you're not godly talented. But I get bored playing
I
one
get
champion.
bored too.
If I play the same champion 2 games in a row, I'm like, whew, I cannot play that champion again. And then I play something else, and then I feed miserably on it. But I actually just got through my series the other day, now that rank doesn't matter at all.
Of course.
So.
That's when you start going up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been playing this game too long. Way back in the day, so I get bored easily playing the same champ.
But it's pretty fresh right now.
It's something.
Klepto, klepto, klepto.
Dota Proism
Oh.
wants to know. Here's my Q&A question. Thank you, sir. What player/players do you think will not be suited to the upcoming metagame, fail to adapt, / vice versa? Well, I mean, it's hard to say because the meta's not even set yet. So starting off, seems like tanky top laners are in right now. I mean, Gangplank is also up there with Jace, but apparently Maokai is the guy to take down the top lane. So if you're good at tanks, then you're off to a good start.
I think Maokai is just forever in the meta, kind of like Orianna.
Yeah.
It's basically, even when it gets nerfed to the ground, eventually it just comes back. I will say what's very interesting is how horrible Galio's win rate is. Second worst.
Yeah.
Remember everyone was whining about the new AP? Oh my god, he's just going to one-shot now.
Well,
Busted.
they fixed that, and then it was nerfed to the ground.
Yeah. Goodbye, Galio.
Yeah, he's gone.
I won't miss you, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty hard to say who's going to be able to adjust or not to this meta because there is no this meta. People are still figuring it out. Right now, all I can say is that the klepto mastery people are getting on anything because it's insane. And the fact that you can get potions that aren't even in the game anymore.
That was weird.
That was insane.
Yeah. You even get green wards that are the same timer as trinket wards. It's like, what's happening?
You get these red pots and go all in level 1, and it's like, what? Am I playing Riven mid? What's happening?
This is some old school stuff going on.
So
The old days when you would buy red pot and go for that kill.
Yeah. Once the meta is more defined or defined at all, it'll be kind of easier to tell. And also who's on these rosters. There's just too many question marks right now.
There are a lot of question marks, but TSM usually starts a little slow.
Yeah,
So
they don't
throw
know
them
how,
in
they
there.
can't adjust to meta.
No.
Any meta. But
So
maybe
it
they'll
should be
have
interesting.
maybe they'll have a whole different team though. So who knows?
Who knows? First time Urgot, is Jensen an import? If Piglet is, shouldn't he? Jensen is an import.
Yeah. And I believe Piglet still is because
Yes.
again, Riot changed the rule around when he would have become an NA resident. They changed it to a 4-year period. So I believe Piglet is still an import. So yeah, we could have thrown him in over Arrow. Matt says, eh. I mean, they were both okay. But AD carry is basically the one position where NA is actually pretty solid. And support, really. The bot lanes in general in NA, domestically, are actually pretty solid.
Yeah.
The other 3, well, jungle's not bad. Top and mid, bring in your imports.
Very import heavy.
Very.
Ben Grimm PvE says, NA doesn't vote for funny players, they vote for the best. They don't understand what All-Star is supposed to be. I don't know, man. Mike Young is in there.
Mike Young is not the best.
No.
He's
That's
fun.
That's pretty funny.
Afro's fun.
Afro's fun. I wouldn't say they vote for the best necessarily. I mean, Bjergsen's an auto-win no matter what. Sneaky, I'd say, is more fun than other options at AD carry. So I think it's a mix. They have their streamers that they go to, Sneaky, Afro move, and then their memes. Mike Young is a meme. He's in there.
Sneaky, also a meme. He falls into both categories.
Yeah.
He's the meme lord.
But if they just voted for fun, it'd be, or for serious and going for the win, it'd be like Xmithy, who's a great NA jungler, but not as exciting as Mike Young.
Yeah, Hanser, Smithy, Bjergsen. I mean, double lift or Sneaky would be fun. You can't have double lift, so it's going to be Sneaky.
Yeah.
And then you'd have Ole. I guess he's kind of fun. But I mean, yeah, people like Afro.
He's more of a persona.
The main one is Mike Young. That's fun. He's not the best jungler. Or he will be this split. But he wasn't last split.
Yeah, he definitely was not last split, but who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows what's coming from our boy, Mike Young. Shed Blood. Who's going to be the next faker, Eric? Now, that's an interesting question. I mean, BDD put in an early application for the next faker position, but I think the next faker is going to be faker for a few more years.
Yeah, I mean, every year there's someone who comes up. There's Dade, there's Pawn, there's BDD, now is Crown. Oh, Faker dethroned. I mean, technically Faker was dethroned.
Yeah.
It wasn't really Crown destroying
no.
him. Crown played what, Malzahar 3 times? And pressed R on him sometimes.
Sometimes.
Faker has not yet been dethroned, and I think him losing makes it even more unlikely that he'll be dethroned this upcoming year, because now I'm sure he feels rejuvenated. If he had just won again 3 years in a row, it's so easy. He's falling asleep in his chair, but now he's angry. He's pissed off, and he's going to be playing pretty insane this split, especially when they're likely going to have a few new guys around him, so they might even rely more heavily on him. They need a more mid lane focused meta, because going into Worlds and like the second half of the whole split, it was pretty AD carry focused, and they need to get back to the mid lane. And I think a mid game focused meta is way more exciting than AD carries sitting around getting shielded.
More playmaking than waiting till 30 minutes and then just getting into these massive team fights where no one dies.
Yeah. I like the Ahri. Getting one shot by Ahri, that's fun.
Yeah.
Not for supports, but to watch.
To watch, it's not bad. But yeah, Faker saw someone else hoist a trophy after 2 years of winning it for himself, so now he wants it back. He's going for it.
Yeah, he probably watched the whole ceremony from the corner off screen, just staring at them. Groaning and
yeah, it's pretty creepy actually.
Yeah, well.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
Fed8677. What do you think about Ignar and Power of Evil being voted in? For me, I don't love it. I'm okay with Ignar. Because I do think during the regular season he was a pretty consistent performer for Misfits. But PoE, great. He's fine. No problem. But Perks definitely deserves it over him in my opinion. So I'd like to see Perks in. At least someone from G2 should be in this thing. There's 0 G2 guys going, man.
Yeah, the champions from the EU LCS don't have a representative. That's a little fishy. Now Sven is the second best, maybe even the best, probably the second best AD carry in EU. But Reckless had an insane season, an insane year in general, a whole lot of attention, so there's no way he's getting in. Perks, I mean, this guy, especially if Sven and Mithy leave, is going to be the face of the EU LCS. Now, obviously, you can't really hold that weight going into the voting here, but I mean, just from an interesting factor, I think he's way more interesting than Power of Evil going in there. I mean, Perks talks. He talks a lot, and sometimes he backs it up. Sometimes he doesn't. I'd say most of the time he backs it up. I think that's a much more interesting guy to go to the All-Star game. And Ignar, I might throw Mithy over him too. But I get why Ignar went in. He's got a lot more hype recently. But yeah, you got to have Perks. You got to have Perks.
You definitely do. Lex ZC says Bjergsen over Jensen, that's the real travesty. I vote for Jensen, man. But I've been kind of on that train all year long. I don't know where you put your vote.
I voted for Jensen.
We're with you.
Vote for him.
I wouldn't call it a travesty per se.
No, I mean, I'm perfectly fine with either one of those guys going. Of course, it was going to be one of those two. If anyone else went, that would have been a travesty.
Yeah.
Because that just would have made no sense. I mean, Bjergsen obviously has an insane fan base. A lot of people, Jensen kind of rubs them the wrong way, whether it's due to his toxic past or even now ongoing. He talks up a lot. He talks himself up, talks the team up a lot, makes quotes about our Lord and Savior, White Lettuce, calls him out for some stuff. But yeah, I think they're kind of interchangeable, much like they kind of were for MVP. You could make a pretty solid case either way for them.
Yeah, I don't think one is going to be extravagantly better than the other. Greg Y wants to know, how will the Masters change the pro scene /match/champion select? Greetings from Greece. Hello,
Greece.
sir.
Wow.
That's far away.
Shoutouts to Greece. I assume it's a very different time.
Yes.
I don't know what time zone Greece is in.
I'm gonna
guess
say 7 ahead.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. One of those should
What
cover
about
it.
night?
Good. Well, he's not asleep. He just wrote a question.
Yeah.
So he's not asleep.
Fine, good idea.
So good evening.
Anyways, your question. It's still very difficult to say, but I mean, as of right now, it seems like Grasp and Aftershock are very good for supporting that tank meta in the top lane. So I'd still, if the preseason patch were to be the one that they were playing on, which won't be the case, they're going to tinker a lot and make sure that it's not so busted, I'll say, is, I mean, there's going to be guys playing tanks and there's going to be guys trying to bully out these tanks. But with Grasp, and then you buy Door and Shield, the Maokai can walk into lane with like 800 starting health, which is pretty hard to bully out. So it's going to be a lot of tanks in the top
Bring back
lane.
Mundo top.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of guys picking Summon Airy in the mid lane and down in the support position.
I think some poke champions might be coming back in that mid lane.
Have you played against Pantheon top? That is obnoxious.
No, I don't want to play against Pantheon Every time you play against Pantheon, the guy has 50 CS at 20 minutes.
But he's still one
like
shot.
10, 10, and 10.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
It's not great. But yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what teams develop. And I mean, right now, there's obviously some things that stick out as busted. Sona with Summon Airy is one of them. Ezreal with Klepto has a win rate of like 57%.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. So things like that
changed.
yeah, exactly. It'll get changed. So we're going to have to wait and see what exactly the game patch is, what they're playing on. But right now, if it was to go through, you'll see a lot of Ezreal, a lot of Maokai.
I think some more of these backline mages, though, you might start seeing more of because, yeah, some of those sorcery keystones are actually pretty good. That Comet never hits, man.
It's bad.
It gives you this every time. It gives you the stat, and I can't break 50%. Like, I want to aim it or something. I don't know. It's. I think there'll be more mages though because some of those masteries are pretty solid. Give me some Zerath or something. Some Azir. I want to see more of those type of guys where you can dominate a game from the mid lane because I think that's what the last meta and the last few metas have lacked is that playmaking from the mid lane.
Yeah,
I want to see it.
I know. Eric's sad. What's with Andy says at Shot Colors Esports. Love the content. Greetings from Netherlands. Hello, sir. A lot of European folk hopping in the Greece, Netherlands. What a day.
We appreciate the love.
Thank you, sir. Very kind.
Appreciate the love from all over the globe.
All over the globe. Shed Blood wants to know, Eric, what are the top challenger players that you expect to see on LCS teams this upcoming academy split and or spring split? For example, Pants are Dragon or Javois my French is not very good. Yeah, my French is not good.
JaVale Degrasse, is that what you said?
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Neil deGrasse Tyson. I mean, he's obviously going to be on a team. But yeah, Panzer Dragon, our guy you talked about, but not going to the scouting grounds.
Right.
Controversial reasons. Won't get into that. But
he said a bad word. We'll get into it. Anyways, continue.
Yeah, we just got deep into it. You like your boy Deftly?
I do.
AD. I don't know if he could crack a starting roster
I don't
because
think so, but
AD spots are pretty filled up. But these scouting grounds are going to be very interesting because I think players that aren't playing that well are going to have a much shorter leash because they're going to have some eager guys right behind them waiting to get in to some of these spots. So it's going to be interesting. I don't know if there's that many guys that are ready in the challenger scene to immediately burst into any of these starting rosters. I think it's mainly just going to be hanging out on these academy teams and seeing what they can showcase.
I feel you.
Tough to crack a top 10 spot.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be too many challenger guys right away in the LCS. I think a lot of those guys are going to be taking up those spots on those challenger teams, academy teams, whatever you call them nowadays. But
academy is correct.
Academy is correct.
No challenger series.
Thank you, Eric, for that clarification. But yeah, I mean, there's going to be imports coming in, and I think a lot of it. There's a lot of free agents too, just from all these teams that kind of disbanded after not qualifying. You got all of Team Envy, all of Dignitas, all of Phoenix One. So all those guys need to find homes. And I mean, I just don't see a spot for. I don't see a spot for these challenger players right now, except for on those academy teams.
But who knows? Maybe someone's sick one week. Someone has to come in, and you get a Mike Young thing. They go 2-0 that week, and maybe they put up some insane performances. So the opportunities will present themselves, I feel like, and it'll be interesting to see how the new ownership around these teams, how quickly they accept losing. Maybe you're not going to see crazy losing streaks or extended periods of mediocre play. They're going to be like, I don't care what you do, sub someone.
Yeah.
Steve, you're out. Oh, man.
Poor Steve.
Poor Steve. Also, Steve, head coach of that Airbus team.
Yeah.
Shout outs to
Out
Steve.
of the blue, something like that?
Yeah.
Wherever they are?
I thought that was the headline, was like, out of the blue news. Like, here's
Yeah.
something random. That's
Steve.
what I thought. So that's a team name or something?
Yeah.
Steve.
All right, we got like a bunch of questions in here. So
All
let's start flying.
Start firing.
Flying like Airbus. Philip Madsen
Nice.
says, what do you guys think if TSM keeps Sven and they get Levi or Mikey Boy? I don't think that'd be a good combination. I don't think a coexisting operation is going to work with Sven Skaren and one of those other guys. I think they both deserve starting spots somewhere. And I just don't think hiding someone on your academy team and bringing him up occasionally, if someone underperforms, is a good way to go about this.
No, I think the best way to utilize those spots are, as we just talked about, is have that young talent and kind of develop them over there. So yeah, having Levi or Sven Skaren, neither one of those guys wants to be playing on an academy roster. These are both guys coming off Worlds berths. Playing at Worlds and then playing on an academy team, that's a pretty big downfall. Just ask like Dandy and Matt Light from LCK, top of the top to the NA Challengers team. Now the Academy team. So I don't know if that's going to work too well for them. Either they're keeping Sven and moving somewhere else, or they're getting rid of him altogether. And some other team's going to pick him up, probably. Either EU or NA. He's still a pretty good jungler. I don't think he'll just go under the radar. No one will sign him. If TSM lets him go, someone's going to pick him up, for sure.
100%. Ben Grimm asked, why is TSM so bad? I wouldn't say that TSM is a bad team whatsoever.
Did they get out of groups?
No, they did not get out of groups, Eric. Where they struggle, as we know, is adapting, whether it's to a new patch, within a series, within a tournament. That's where they end up having trouble. And it's just, whether it's unwillingness or having such confidence in what you're doing that they refuse to switch to something else, is something they're going to have to look at. But they're not a bad team. They've got a lot of talent, obviously, consistently winning North America. Now it's just translating that to the next level.
They need someone who does something before 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That was also the issue, is they played with their monitors off for 15 minutes. And then they came into the game, and they're down 9,000 gold. Hard to come back from that. So, yeah, that's why I think they need an aggressive jungler or someone to dictate the early game, like an Xmithy. I would love Xmithy on TSM. That would be super solid. So I think they send someone like that, and it'll help the early game quite a bit. That solves some of the problems, but they almost have no problems domestically. Dominate through the NALCS. 10 splits in a row. Every split, they've gotten to the finals, which is bonkers. It's bonkers.
It's craziness.
Bonkers.
But they're not very good.
No, they're not very good. Couldn't get out of groups.
What's with Andy asked, do you think TSM should sign Rainover? He can speak English, he's a good jungler, and he won't get playing time at Team Liquid. I don't know who will get playing time at Team Liquid. They've got a lot of junglers over there, but they seem to like Dardoch. Rainover, potentially. He's definitely a guy that a lot of teams should be looking at, I would think, in some fashion or another. I think CLG is a good fit for a guy like Rainover. TSM, we've already heard a bunch of whispers about maybe Karsa or Mike Young, maybe a guy going to TSM. So there's guys out there that are linked to them. Rainover could be a good fit because, yeah, you mentioned he does bring that early game, and Eric just said TSM needs someone who can contribute in that fashion. He's more aggressive than guys like Sven. But again, keep in mind, TSM has had a lot of aggressive junglers join the team, and then they changed playstyles. Sven was once one of the most aggressive junglers in Europe.
Not no mo.
Not no mo.
Get on Gragas. Play Gragas.
Okay.
That's
random.
Wrong chant. Yeah. But Rainover, if he goes on TSM, then you'd really see, was Liquid just really making him look worse? Or maybe he's just not on these super teams and not as good. But TSM would probably be a super team. So
yeah,
we'll see. That wouldn't be too bad.
It wouldn't be too bad at all. Gregoire, which champs are the most broken for competitive and solo queue in your opinion, per role if possible? Well, I'll list a couple. Top lane, already said Maokai is oppressive. You can't push him out of lane anymore, and he'll just outduel you. So that's definitely one. Mid lane, Katarina, a lot of pros are saying, is pretty busted.
Really?
And then bot lane, Ezreal, Sona. In the jungle, I'm not too sure who's a good power pick right now. But I played against some Rek'Sai, and it hurts real bad.
Yeah, basically these full damage champs in solo queue, full damage AD champs are pretty terrifying.
Yeah, Hecarim with Predator is pretty cheesy. Rammus has a very high win rate.
Yeah, Rengar. Rengar's scary.
Yeah.
Rengar's always scary.
So those are some guys you can look at.
Yeah. But I think Lissandra might be seeing more.
I played it the other day. Pretty fun. With Summon Area 2, you just keep throwing Qs, and the little guy hits you again.
Little guy? Little guy. We played a game. I played Lissandra. That went pretty well, right?
Yeah, you did really well that game. Good God.
I didn't play her in 2 or 3 years. It went pretty well.
Hopefully you don't do it again.
Maybe in another 2 or 3 years.
Janro Botha says, hello from South Africa. Greetings, sir. Where do you think Smeb will end up?
I want to live in a world where this KT roster stays together for another split, because that team's insane. That team is insane and should at least get to Worlds and see how they do. I feel like they could win Worlds, but I feel like they're going to be blown to the wind like dandelion seeds on whenever that happens. Spring, into summer, probably going into summer that happens.
You ruined your beautiful analogy.
Well. I think Smeb's going to go somewhere. He'll probably stay within Korea because he's usually guys go to China or the LPL after the peak of their career. They go down and cash in. I feel like S.N.P is so hungry for winning. Maybe go to SKT.
Maybe.
Pull a peanut move and head over there, because I feel like Huni, I mean, he was fine. Him and Faker were the standouts for SKT, even though they were losing. But I feel like Huni's going to be on the move. So maybe KT, maybe S.N.P heads over to SKT. I know he said he wanted to bring them down. He wanted to beat them. To be the ones to beat them. But they were already beat. So who cares about beating them now? So maybe go to SKT, S.N.P.
One way to beat SKT is to not qualify for Worlds. You can be an inside man.
That's true.
Take them down from the inside, Eric.
That's true. That's a smart move.
Ben Grimm asks, will UOL rosters change, or did they find the right composition? Well, it seems like it's already changing based on reports that have Chachi and Hylissang going to Optic. Not confirmed, but that's a little rumor based on sources. And
can never trust
good old
that
sources.
Guy. That guy's sources is a questionable fellow.
Yeah, but they've already signed Exile and Samix. And I thought Exile's days were numbered after some incredibly questionable performances in Summer Split.
Well, they are numbered. It's just numbered about 365 days at least.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, if Vizichachi and Hylissang are leaving, that's pretty much the heart and soul of that team, original members. Samix had a great split, but I don't know. Can he pull that off again? If Exile plays at the same level he did for the majority of the year, then that team is not going to make a whole lot of noise, I don't think, in the EU LCS. So,
yeah,
it's a different looking roster for sure. I like Xerxes too, though.
I'm with you. I think he's a good jungler. Shed Blood with a couple more questions there.
Okay.
What EU mid laners are possibly going to be leaving their team? Also, what teams do you think PoE would be going to in NA, hopefully? He wants them to go to NA. So, PoE's one guy. Perks is staying. I would imagine Caps is staying.
Yep.
Febivin. Depends on what H2K's up to.
Yeah, if Yankos and Otawamne leave H2K, if I'm Febivin, I'm running.
For the hills.
I'm running, man. Get me out of there.
Find the closest hill and run to it.
I mean, he, under the radar, had a super solid split.
Yeah.
I mean, the Fnatic and kind of G2's turnaround pretty much overshadowed his performance as a whole, but he was fantastic. And people were saying after he's a kind of more down split with Fnatic, he goes to H2K, they thought he'd be way worse. But he's still a fantastic guy, so I think pretty much any spot in EU outside of G2 and Fnatic would probably love to have this guy on their roster. And a couple NA teams if he's interested. But sounds like he wants to stay in EU.
Yeah. So we'll see. PoE, North America, there's definitely options. Again, mid laners in North America, not the strongest, so look for those imports.
And there's not many.
Yeah, exactly.
So teams are going to have to import starting mid laners. And there's a lot of open spots right now. I mean, how many teams actually have a solid mid laner that they're going to stick with? You got TSM, C9, CLG,
Echo
Fox.
Not FlyQuest.
That's 6 other teams, man.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, there's a couple guys that are going to be signed to these teams, like Belter, probably Keen. But I mean, I'd rather Febivin or PoE over Keen, that's for sure. So there's definitely openings in the NALCS. Pretty much anyone outside of those 4 teams we talked about are going to be looking for a mid laner.
Yeah. All right, we still got a bunch of questions, so let's start flying here, all right, buddy?
Here we go.
If Huni comes back to North America, would you think that he would attempt to join his former teammate Reignover?
They might be pretty solid, but that's 2 import slots. Do people want to risk it on that? Maybe if they got Belter mid, and then, oh my God, that's Immortals.
Oh, here we go again.
Immortals Part 3, but not Immortals. So Immortals anew. But hey, they seem like pretty good pals. I think if the opportunity's there, they definitely want to join up if a team's willing.
If a team's willing is the question.
That's both your import slots.
Yeah, and that's, who knows? Not exactly, Reignover hasn't shown the same amount of promise he did back in the day, but maybe in the right situation, he could fix that. Do you think it would be a good idea to keep, or to have a salary cap that teams have to stick to keep all teams more evenly balanced? I saw Travis talking about this. It's an interesting notion. I'm not sure that issue exists yet in League of Legends.
I don't know what they're making.
That's one thing. And, I mean, in terms of parity, at least in NA, it hasn't been that too far one-sided. I mean, when you talk super teams in North America, haven't really seen it. Same with EU. I wouldn't say a super team has really existed anywhere except for in the LCK, where KT went full super team here even that Immortals team back in the day was like Huni, Reignover.
People didn't think they'd do that well.
Yeah, and then it was still guys like Pope, who was a mid-tier mid player at the time, with Turtle and Adrian, who are still guys who are like, oh, they're good, but they're not the best.
Yeah, I think the import rule already does a pretty good job of limiting super teams.
Right.
Because, I mean, even the most amazing all-NA super team you could come up with, if salary was no issue, they'd be good. They'd be a top 3 team, maybe the best team in NA. But it's not like they're going to completely steamroll everyone, I don't think. So it hasn't really been an issue yet for the NALCS. Maybe it will be now with this franchising stuff, because people will just be able to sign everyone. But
yeah.
So far, it's not an issue that the LCS has to be worried about.
It is not.
So far.
Matt Malari says, who's your bet to win 1v1 tournament this year? Give me a quick prediction.
So our guys picked, it's one guy from each team they pick, or two guys
two
from each team.
region. Yeah.
And it's only from these 5 teams, right? Well, I think a guy like Prey probably go pretty far. And I like a guy like MLXG. MLXG, Prey final. Prey takes it.
Give me Uzi Reckless. Grudge match. Grudge match, man.
Reckless will get slapped.
He'll cry again.
Oh.
Sorry, too soon.
Too soon.
Pakila says, will C9 finally win NALCS? I think in spring they got a good shot.
I think they should. They should win in spring because, like we said before, they're probably going to make the fewest roster changes. Them in CLG, I imagine, make the fewest changes. And they're coming off. They look solid. They had a legitimate shot. They might have beaten, maybe should have beaten WE. So I think they're coming in pretty strong. And yeah, assuming they can play with the meta, whatever it settles into being, I think they should be able to take spring.
I agree, Eric.
Yeah.
Mav says, are there all-star coaches as well? There will be. I don't think they've been announced yet, but eventually those will be the guys who decide who plays in the 1v1 tournament. So it's coming.
Probably won't be Parth. Probably won't.
Come on, man. What's with Andy? Who was the worst player from the last summer season?
Oh, man.
Now we're getting called for flaming people. If you want a couple guys, you can put Seraph's name in the hat. You can put Exile's name in the hat.
Oh.
Who else wants to go in the hat? It's not a very fun hat.
I mean, insert Echo Fox sub. Keith?
Keith can go in the hat.
Keith can go in the hat. What are we doing with this hat?
Leaving it behind. I don't want it.
Oh, they're just stuck in the hat forever. That's so sad. Yeah, those are 3 pretty good ones. CosQ. Oof. He had some
Katarina.
rough games. But Katarina's getting meta, so maybe CosQ's a guy you want to pick up on your team.
Yeah, I'll pass. All right, that's good. That's a good hat list. Shed Blood, what do you think of the idea of High sticking on FlyQuest to help develop a new mid laner to take his place, and Turtle/Moonstick on the team replace Balls and Elimination? I'm okay. I don't see a world in which you need to really get a guy ready and like be a mentor to someone. I understand maybe then put him on a coach, but it doesn't have to be the mid lane.
Yeah, the best way to get him ready is to throw him in for Spring Split, the one that doesn't mean as much.
Right.
And when you having a new roster anyway, you're obviously going to have growing pains. I agree that Turtle and Moon, you could probably stick with them. They're 2 NA guys. Wild Turtle was the best player on FlyQuest, and Moon, at times, was good. Mm-hmm. He had some questionable moments. He was kind of up and down, but for the most part, I think he's a decent jungler, and especially a domestic jungler. So you keep those guys. Yeah, high on the coaching staff, great, but I don't think he can compete at a top 4 or 5 level in the LCS at the mid lane.
I feel you, Eric. Yeah.
He's a legend. He's a legend.
He's a legend, but
legends do die.
We saw that at Worlds.
And High is dead.
Yes, he is.
Rip.
He's don't go looking for him. He's gone.
He's in jail with Dyrone.
Yeah, with Dyrus. Epakilla says, where can we follow roster changes? Well, we'll talk about everything here, but Eric and I usually hit up Reddit. That's where you can get reliable stuff all the time. Nothing ever false comes on Reddit. No fake news, no memes, no trash posts. Usually go by a different name.
But pretty much every Monday and Wednesday here on Shot Colors Esports, we're going to be doing roster updates for NA, EU, LCK, CB LOL. No, we probably won't do CB LOL. But all the main regions, we're going to be talking about roster updates. And like Matt mentioned, in the next week, teams can start signing guys. So I assume the sources will be very active coming next week.
Yeah. All right, Eric. There's a few more left. Let's go through quick. What big changes do you think will come in free agency? I think we've already seen a lot of them, and that's all these NBA teams. I think there's going to be a lot of crazy import signings, things we don't expect. But I'm pretty sure every team will have the 2 imports.
Yeah, I think you might see some big Korean guys come in. Maybe a Prayer Gorilla. Maybe S.N.P comes to NA if this KT roster thing blows up. Maybe you got a big guy like S.N.P coming in. He sees Someday and Flame doing super well in NA. You think S.N.P wouldn't want to come in here and completely smash everyone in mid lane? He's going, Hanser is your all-star you're sending to the NA all-star team? I can destroy him. Yeah. And you know what? He probably could. So
probably could. Fed 867 I almost made 2 numbers.
Sevens.
What do you think about the current situation with the ELCS, with teams complaining to Riot? This is going to take a lot longer than the amount of time we have left because it's
ELCS.
It's a bit confusing, and obviously a lot of players are enticed by what NALCS is bringing. EU already saying, you know what, franchising next year after slashing the tires of the Champions League idea they had in place. So it's a lot of mismatches kind of flying by the seat of their pants based on current decisions and what teams are looking for, I guess, because, yeah, you're right. After the H2K thing, when they were like, this sucks, we're going to leave if you don't fix it. They kind of fixed it, but not entirely, and now they're like adding more money to these teams, so they'll stick around.
Yeah, I mean, they basically were worried their whole league was going to implode, so they completely went backwards on their original plan, and then they're just going to go to franchising the next year, but after a year of whatever they have this split, there might not be teams who want to invest in that franchising model, so EULCS is in a lot of trouble, especially if guys like PoE, Sven and Mithy, Ignar are all leaving. Those are some key guys in the EULCS. I mean, Perks and Reckless are going to be the faces of the EULCS, and if it keeps going down, they're going to bounce too. And then it's good night, EU.
That's not good. All right, a few questions left. Shed Blood, can I have that Immortals jersey? Absolutely not. We paid for it with our own money.
Yeah, but they don't exist anymore. Look at it. It's so sad. It's falling in itself.
It's all, get me out of here. I'm done.
Yeah, he wants to join his former teammates. But
in the, where are they? Afterlife?
Yeah, in the purgatory that is free agency.
Nice.
Yeah.
CoStar, if you were to get rid of the whole Liquid roster and rebuild your own, who would you get to potentially make it the finals of North America and win? Start with Pobe.
Mike Young.
Mike Young.
Someday.
He's there. So you still got an import slot available.
Cody-san and Ole.
It's not bad.
That's a lot of Immortals.
I mean,
just throw in Mike Young.
That was a good team. Why not?
That's not bad.
It's not bad. I'll take it. You can even just keep Immortals together.
Nah,
and
that's not as fun.
it'd compete. It's not as fun.
Mike Young and Someday.
All right, last 2 questions, Eric. E-Jats, how is Rocks Tigers looking for Season 8? I'm going to say not good.
Well, they lost Mickey.
Because that's the big issue. Yeah. I mean, Shy is a top laner. Man, he was great. He's not exactly on that level anymore.
LCK is insane. Rocks Tigers, probably not a top 4 team.
No.
And only 3 teams go to Worlds. So goodbye, Rocks.
Yeah, that math checks out.
They're not getting their rocks off.
No, they're not. I hate you for that. Do you guys think Reckless is done after All-Stars?
He's a guy who seems to get burnt out from the game.
A lot, yeah.
But to be fair, after Worlds, he immediately, some post, he got the Challenger. He played like 100 games and had a pretty good win rate. So he can't be that burnt out if he's immediately playing that much after Worlds. And maybe he's inspired by Fnatic's crazy turnaround, not just at Worlds, but even before that, to get into Worlds, going through the plane. They had a crazy year, all in all. They were the best team, then they sucked, then blah, 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 blah. He went through a lot, so this guy had an amazing split. I don't think he should retire unless he's super burnt out. There's no reason he should. He's still like 21.
I know.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. I don't think he's done. I think Competitive Fire is going to keep bringing him back. But thanks for your questions, everybody. It's been a lovely, lovely stream.
I agree. A lot
That's
of
all the time
questions
we have
from
today.
all over the globe. South Africa.
Greece, Netherlands. Absurd. Probably others. Roll call it. But yeah, if you missed anything, check out the full stream on our YouTube, Shot Callers Esports.
Mm-hmm.
Follow us on Twitter, at SC Esports. There's an underscore in there too, at _SC Esports.
There it is.
It's hiding in the very front where no one expects it. Check out our top 5s. Subscribe, all that good stuff. And
Be
take
back
it away,
Wednesday.
Eric. Yeah, hype it up. What are we doing Wednesday?
We'll be back Wednesday for a little 5v5 live at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. because daylight savings happened. I'm not going to explain what that is for people who have no idea what it is.
Yeah.
But we'll be back Wednesday at 2 p.m. I'm going to look at some more roster stuff, if there's any rumors or maybe some of that other stuff. And we're going to take a look at the preseason and so far how the metagame has developed, some of the things that are kind of OP, maybe where it's going to go, what Riot needs to change, and maybe we'll talk about Blue Essence. Everyone seems to love Blue Essence and where that's going. But we'll be back Wednesday at 2 p.m. Thank you very much for watching. And again, for all your questions, Eric Kummel, Matt Hempstead. We'll see you guys on Wednesday.